Hey guys, welcome to Thrive Bites Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for listening on. You could have been anywhere in the world and you decided to spend just a few moments of your precious time, and we greatly appreciate it. Here on the podcast, we talk about three things: living a plant-powered lifestyle, enhancing emotional resilience, and creating a thriving mindset. And I interview a range of passionate guests such as physicians, dietitians, coaches, entrepreneurs, and many more. And please join me as I deliver these engaging, informative, and high-valued conversations for you. So what are you waiting for? Come on inside. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dr. Colin Zhu, aka TheChefDoc. And guys, we have another episode coming up on Thrive Bites Podcast. You don't want to miss this. I'm going to be interviewing Coach Josh Graves. He is the co-founder and CEO of Fitness on Fire, located here in SoCal, Southern California, and Irvine, California. And we talk a lot about what it takes to create a brick and mortar business, but we also talk a lot about the different challenges, the ups and downs, what drives Coach Josh to get up in the morning, what drives him to pursue this beautiful manifestation of not just a gym, but a community. So you don't want to miss this episode, and we'll see you guys inside. Okay, guys, well, welcome to another episode of Thrive Bites Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for being here with us. You could have been anywhere in the world, and you decided to join us with your precious moments, and we greatly appreciate it. Guys, I have a wonderful, wonderful guest with us today. This is the awesome Josh Graves, and he is the CEO on Fitness on Fire. And this is a community, family-friendly personal training facility located in Irvine that he and his wife, Haydee, both co-owned and run. And they've been doing this for almost 10 years now. At the time of the recording, it's going to be actually 10 years. And they're located in Southern California, in Irvine, California. Fitness on Fire helps people cross their necks and oftentimes their first finish line. They help people get fit, help them find events and adventures with their fitness. Events like Spartan races, Ragnar relay races, and much, much more. Josh is a career coach. He's also a sports performance director at Pacifica Christian High. He's been working in the fitness industry for over 18 years. Some of Josh's accreditations include him being in the USA OCR Level 3 Coach Functional Movement Specialist. He's also the NASM CPT Corrective Exercise Specialist and Performance Enhancement Specialist, and also a Russian Kettlebell Certified Coach. So without further ado, please welcome Coach Josh. Hello.
Hey, what's up? Good to see you, Mr. Colin, Dr. Colin, sir. Appreciate you for having me today.
All right. Josh, I can't say enough words to describe the person you are. I personally, full disclosure, attend your gym, your family-friendly community, really prioritizing community type of oriented gym. And, I found you guys during the pandemic when I moved down to Orange County, when it was a time where, the world was shut down. And I was at a CrossFit gym before, mainly because not just to improve my fitness, but I really needed to find community. And when I came upon your gym, you guys created such a beautiful environment where it fosters not just everyone's individual's higher self, but also really putting the we in wellness. I know you and I have had a lot of offline conversations about that, and it's so needed. So I definitely would say your gym, in my eyes, is really community first. And I can't wait to delve more into that. So congratulations for 10 years of running this.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, it's literally today's our 10-year anniversary as I'm interviewing with you. I was actually arguing with my team about it. So I was like, no, it's March 15th. And my team, one of my girls that's been at the gym the whole time, she came up to me and she's like, no, today is the birthday. She showed me an old picture and an old video of the 14th. And it's sure enough, like, dang it, I was wrong. Today is actually the 10-year anniversary of Fitness on Fire. So as probably most people understand, running a brick and mortar business of any kind for 10 years is Yeah, not for the faint of heart. So
Mm,
for sure. But you're right. We talked about community. You and I did a little bit of a talk recently, and you talked about your 6 pillars of wellness or longevity. 6 pillars of, is it holistic health?
lifestyle
Life,
medicine.
lifestyle medicine. And one of the pillars for you is social connections. And you talked about how that's like a part of what keeps people alive. And the best blue zones in the world, places where people live the longest, a lot of the times those people have great tribes, great communities. They're connected to something that's bigger than themselves, and it keeps them alive longer, right?
Mhm.
So you're right. Like, I think initially we opened the gym to be like kettlebells and strength training, and it became so much more than that immediately, right? So Fitness on
Mhm.
Fire is definitely a community focused fitness facility, and then it's really more about self development and community, and we just use fitness as our vehicle to do that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, for those of you that are listening that have, haven't had a chance to visit his gym or partake, it's such a great gym because I've been to a lot of gyms. I'm mostly a runner, and I've done a lot of obstacle races myself. And so, when you go into a gym, a lot of gyms are very corporate, which is actually very similar to the medical world because healthcare is very business oriented. It's very corporate nowadays. And so when you are part of a corporate chain, there's a certain coldness to it, at least in my
Mm.
eyes. And there's a certain impersonal feel. And people, they just go in, they put on their headphones, head down, they focus, grind it out, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? They're
For
very
sure.
focused, disciplined, that's fine. But, as we're talking about social connections and being community focused, there's a certain energy and power that comes from the environment. And
Mm.
whenever I speak to, because I've been with you guys for on and off like 2 years now, I think. And whenever I meet someone new, I ask them like, what brings them to the gym? And we always end up going into this conversation of like, well, it's not just any other gym because you really gain so much from the surrounding environment. I was talking to someone else about how you just went through your remodel and reorientation of sorts. And it's incredible that everyone, like no square inch of your gym is not utilized. And coming from the Northeast, from Manhattan, New Jersey area, it's like, you use every square inch. So
Sure.
it's so cool that, from a business point of view, yeah, cost effectiveness for sure. But it's so cool how like, everyone is like able to bob and weave within that space because they're so present in terms of their spatial awareness with where everyone is. And I think that adds to that strong community and environment where like, oh, we're working together. I'm not just here for myself. I'm not here with my headphones and head down, grinding it out. No, you're actually doing it with others. And there's such a incredible power that comes with that. So I don't know if, we're definitely getting into it, but, I don't know if that was your intention, but that's what, from my eyes, where it's at. And it's a very unique, gym because of that.
When I looked at the fitness industry, back in the day, it was very siloed. It was like you had like power lifters and Olympic lifters and bodybuilders and CrossFit athletes, and it was almost like if you did CrossFit and I did powerlifting, we couldn't exist in the same space, or we were like different or something like that. And I didn't really see fitness that way. I actually saw it a lot more like a big giant Venn diagram. I saw a lot of these different art forms of fitness and these different like practitioners or these different like gurus, if you will, in these different movement
Bubbles.
quadrants or bubbles or whatever. And when you put them all together, you would see like there may be 30 things each of these professionals is saying, but 5 of those things they're both saying absolutely. And so for me, I was like, dude, I want to stand in that middle ground with you guys. I think it's really cool that you have a different art form than each other, but principally, we're actually saying the same things. Whether you're teaching somebody gymnastics or you're teaching somebody powerlifting, you're teaching about external rotation for their shoulders for stability. So what I started to see was just how all these things fit into one thing. And I was like, I just want a place where like different gurus and people that are passionate about their niches or their specialties could all come and we could all coexist and maybe have one art form we create together, which is a little bit of all of it. If If you told me you did martial arts, you're like, yo, I do martial arts. The natural question would probably be like, what kind of martial art? Is it jujitsu? Is it
Taekwondo,
taekwondo?
is it
Is
karate?
it Muay Thai? Like what type of martial art are you talking about?
Yeah.
Fitness is kind of like that, right? That people have the art forms that they practice. It's all martial arts. It's all fitness. So I don't care if you're a Pilates instructor or a Pilates practitioner, if you do yoga, if you do kettlebells, if you do powerlifting, CrossFit, whatever, parkour, obstacle race training. At the end of the day, it's more similar than it's not. And what I wanted to do is get people that just love something and get them all in the same place. So Fitness on Fire has a lot of little niche. We have equipment and tools here that you probably wouldn't see anywhere, especially one of those colder corporate gyms you're kind of talking about, right? Where it's like dumbbells, pin loaded machines, cardio equipment. You can Fitness on Fire. I mean, you could flip tires if you wanted to one day. You could do gymnastics with gymnastics rings. You could climb some obstacles and walls and ropes. You can power lift. We have some of the most impressive lifting numbers and records anywhere, especially with our women population. Our women are so strong at Fitness on Fire. So all of those things being said, to answer kind of what something you talked about, where there's a lot of stuff going on, the reason we did the remodel is to give more room for the many different art forms that are practiced at Fitness on Fire, because it is definitely an art form to try and get all those things to fit in dance, if you will, at the same time. So we're continuing to work on it. It's definitely not perfect. I mean, our facility is only about 6,000 square foot. And I think about 3,500 square foot of it is training space. So we try to make the most out of the space that we can. And if you've got real estate in California, similar to what you're saying on the East Coast, man, like we're in an A-class commercial real estate property in the heart of the Irvine Business Complex in Orange County, California. Getting any more space is probably out of the question right now. So we got to be able to figure out how to get all these things to fit under the same roof.
Yeah. And yours is unique because it's not like a standalone brick and mortar, because it's part of, like, would you call it like a office park or whatever? Like, what is that complex that's where it's situated?
It would be considered like an industrial park, yeah, or like a business park. So yeah, it's like an industrial coding for that we had to get a conditional use permit for and all that in the back in the day.
Yeah, because what's cool is that, you get to utilize that space, because we run outside. We, like, I don't know what goes through the minds of your neighbors when they see when they see us, like, just literally taking over, the pavement all the time.
Well, one of the blessings, number one, first piece of advice for any fitness professionals or gym owners on the call, the first thing you should do, maybe anybody as a whole, when you move into a new neighborhood, go meet your neighbors. Especially if you're one of those people that throws parties. Like, if you're one of those people that throws parties, like, go meet your neighbors first day. Like, hey, I throw parties sometimes. Like, would you just tell me if I'm going overboard, or if it offends you at all? I'll make sure to, like, try to do the best I can. Like, if you just go in with, like, this collaborative spirit overall, I think that helps. So I literally did that on the very first day here. I went and shook hands with every person. And I was like, I run a gym. It can be loud. We're going to have shirtless people running around sometimes. Like, if I'm ever upsetting you, affecting your business in any way, I'm over loud, any of those kind of things, I would truly value the feedback. Just tell me and I'll fix it. Since then, most of my neighbors train with me. So most of our neighbors, we've also recruited at some point. So the veterinarian doctor down the way, him and his wife train with us. The business owners next door to us, they run like a spice company. They train with us. For a long time, I trained my landlord here for many years. So that was also really nice. Make friendly with your neighbors if you're at a gym. I was also just going to say that it was a must-have for me when I opened Fitness on Fire, because I grew up in some of those corporate gyms. So I worked in gyms, in big box gyms, for about 9 years almost. I typically, as a fitness manager or as a personal trainer, I get to the gym, I don't know, before the sun was up most days, and I'd be working in the gym all day long, and I'd leave after the sun was down. So there were days I never saw sunlight. And then most of the time, these 24-hour fitnesses or these big box gyms, you'd be working in the basement or in the attic or something like that, is what it felt like. So I was like in these dungeons working, 12-hour days, not seeing the sunlight. I felt like a vampire. So I was like, dude, one of these days, like, if I ever own my own thing, I really want to be able to have some natural sunlight. I want one of those places where you have like the roll-up doors and people can go in and out of the gym. And that ended up saving our business during the pandemic, because we had to have common, open, well-ventilated spaces, and Fitness on Fire was definitely that with our 3 roll-up doors. So yeah, the outside space is integral to what we do here.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of light to your place and cross ventilation because sometimes during, when it's not rainy and windy and all that, you have the front door open. It's a very kind of like an open, door welcome feel. And then obviously the three back doors are open. So there is a lot of light, a lot of ventilation. And honestly, it's, every time I drive up, there's always the energy. The only thing that's alive is the gym. Like I've never seen, like you just see signs on people's, storefront, right? But when you go to your place, there's just, at times music, at times, depending on what classes, ending, there's always like people, bustling in and out, right? So there's a certain
People hanging out up
of
front, talking, hanging out in the lobby, sitting out doing it's like a hangout space, right?
Exactly. So that goes back to the social connections because it's a lot of people, come in for social hour in a way, you know what I'm saying? So that's great. Any other, we kind of digressed a little bit, but any other, I guess, pivotal moments leading up to the opening of the gym that was inspirational to opening of the gym in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on, my background being big box gyms. So I started off in the fitness industry in 2007. I actually used to sell shoes. So I sold shoes before while I was in college. And I remember one day 24-Hour Fitness was there on the college on site selling memberships, right? College discounts and stuff like that. And I started talking to the guy that's selling. He's like, dude, you sound like a salesman. What do you sell? I was like, I sell shoes and I'm an assistant manager at Finish Line. And I was like proud. I was like, yeah, I'm assistant manager at Finish Line. He's like, oh, that's cool, bro. He's like, well, if you ever want a real sales job, like give me a call sometimes. We're looking for great people. I was like super bitter and offended. I'm like, whoa, bro, whoa, right? And I'm like 18 at the time, right? So I was supposed to get a promotion to get my own store for Finish Line. This is what started the fitness industry for me. So thank you, Finish Line. I appreciate you. I had recently got my wallet stolen, so I had to go through like a whole background screening and all these other things, and I didn't have my ID, so they delayed the promotion for me. And then eventually I got passed up for the promotion. I got really bitter, so I called the dude at 24-Hour Fitness, like, hey man, I'm looking for that sales job you told me about. So he brought me in. I started selling memberships. So I'm going to try and jump around a little bit, but I promise I'll get to a cohesive story here in a second. When I was in high school, fitness changed my life, right? Fitness changed my life. I wasn't like the best athlete in class. I was mediocre at best. And come my freshman year, I started learning how to work out. And we'd end school at 3:30 and I would work out before practice for football. We'd go out to football practice. And then when football practice is over, I'd go back to the weight room on the way in and I'd finish my workouts. And I got really serious about the gym and I started getting bigger. I started getting faster. I started beating some of the athletes that I always looked up to. And fitness like basically taught me about goal setting, some of the principles behind self-development that like shaped my life. Set a goal, show up every day for it. Do the seemingly insignificant and small things until they equal a big result. Start to see a little bit of the progress of your work and build momentum off of that, right? And it taught me possibility. Like, there's so many things I could talk all day about what fitness has taught me just by being a career person that loves health and fitness. At the end of my junior year, I started getting very competitive in football. So I ended up hiring a speed coach in Indiana. And I went to a place in Indiana where we did change of direction training, speed training. It's my first experience with a personal trainer. I'm telling you, I'm coming back full circle of my story here. And so I went from being an average runner to running like a 4.40. We won numerous state championships in football, and I ended up getting looks. I ended up getting a chance to play Division I football from what I believe really started in the weight room and started with my personal trainer I had in high school. So now let's fast forward until I am now working at 24-Hour Fitness after college. And what I did really differently and well is I didn't sell memberships and then sometimes get people to buy personal training. I would take a guess and I would get to understand what it was they were really trying to accomplish with their fitness. Like, hey, I want to get a gym membership. It's like, okay, well, why? Why do you want to get a gym membership? It's like, I don't know. I just wanted a good deal. Okay, well, why do you want a good deal on a membership? Like, what brought you into the gym day? What made today the day that you decided to walk into the gym? And it was oftentimes like, oh, the doctor told me I needed to lose some weight, or I want to get a girlfriend. I've been single for a really long time. I think I need to start taking care of myself, or whatever it might be. So once we started to understand what they were trying to accomplish and why it was important to them, I would just get busy on crafting a solution that also probably encompassed having a personal trainer. Like a trainer will take care of that for you. Your trainer will do this, your trainer will do that. So as I started selling memberships, I accidentally like broke the company record in personal training sales, because what I would do is I would sell training, and then I'd be like, oh, that's right, you need a membership to get the trainer. So let's get you the membership too. So anyways, it's about 6 months into working for 24 Hour Fitness, I got promoted from the sales world to being like the training manager of the club. About a year later, I got my own club, and I was a general manager before I could drink a beer, essentially. And then I started moving around Orange County as a general manager at numerous facilities, kind of fixing gyms and installing sales systems, teaching their training programs. I kind of wrote the training manual for the most part for that organization. I don't know if I got credit for it, but I know a lot of the stories that are told and the anecdotes and things like that. Those are mine. But anyways, man, so about 8 years working in that organization, I did pretty much all of the production side of the business, sales, marketing, running the club, the HR stuff, all that. And then my wife, Haydee, also grew up in the fitness industry. I may or may not have met her at the first gym that we worked at together.
So you're like, whoa, who's that?
Right? Yeah, for sure. That also may have had something to do with me taking the job in the first place. But anyways, so Haydee grew up, and she was like the most decorated operations manager in 24 Hour Fitness. So she was killing on operations front. I was killing on the front end of the house front. And so we always joked that one day it would be really cool if we got to open up our own gym, because she knew how to run the operations. I knew how to get the business. And 2013, we got married, and we sat down and we're like, is today the day that we buy a house, we plant our flag with our corporate jobs, and we start a family, and we do all the things that like our families kind of telling us we're supposed to do? Or do we start that business that we always talked about we wanted to run? And it became very apparent to us that day that it was time. We wanted to delay the family life a little bit and buy the house and the family and do all that stuff. And we wanted to take a chance on ourselves and open our business. So in 2014, I got really busy on getting everything ready. And in 2015, we opened Fitness on Fire together.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dr. Colin Zhu, and we are very, very excited to officially announce that we are starting a cookbook. This has been a long time coming, and this is the pre-order campaign, and we are so excited for this project. So guys, as a reminder, we live in a world where 72% of us are overweight, about 40% are obese here in America. More than half of the top 10 causes of death are attributable to dietary and lifestyle changes. The top 2 being heart disease and cancer year after year after year. 1 out of 3 of us are pre-diabetic. We live in a world where we are immersed in ultra-processed, calorically rich, and nutrient-poor foods, as well as animal-based foods. And this leads to a whole host of problems. And yet, 88% of countries outside of America face 2 or 3 forms of malnutrition. And not only that, our soil health is very poor due to modern agriculture, which is 99% of what we practice here in America. And that leads to a lot of issues in terms of biodiversity loss, in terms of soil degradation, a lot of resources being used because of animal agriculture. And that has a huge environmental impact and also an impact to our individual health. So the aim of this book is to connect all of these dots, how our food choices affect our individual ecosystems and how that creates a ripple effect to our community and towards planetary health. And so I am enlisting a lot of my friends and colleagues. We're going to have over 25 experts ranging from physicians, chefs, dietitians, environmental experts, and farmers to collaborate to write this book. The book is a cookbook which is filled with plant-forward recipes that are both seasonal, balanced, traditional, multicultural, and nutritious and delicious at the same time. It's not just going to be a cookbook, it's also going to be a strategy book as well. So this pre-order campaign is to not only get your copy of the physical book, but also a digital copy. And if you order for this pre-order campaign, you'll also get free access to the TheChefDoc Academy, which has been 8 years of work and valued over thousands of dollars The aim of this book is to get over 1,000 pre-orders in order to get the best traditional publisher to make a massive impact. And so, guys, be part of a movement, not only be able to find all the things that you want to do for your individual health, but also for your family and community, and play an actionable role to be able to save the planet that we're on now. So, click on the link to find out for more information, and we can't wait for you to join this movement, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Yeah, I wanna stay in that sweet spot for a moment because a lot of people in today's society, majority of us are kind of in that traditional default lane of, you grow up, you do what you're told, you go to school, get that job, get that career, build a family, and then off to the races like that, right? Which is cool. You decided to kind of delay it for a little bit and work on a dream, right? And to me, a dream is you have the idea, but a lot of us can dream, but it's the implementation. And you went out to work. And this was in the beginnings of your marriage. And so walk us through, what were some of the challenges? What were some of the little nuanced conversations to say okay, let's not go with the traditional route just yet. Let's work on this dream together, right? And because I'm sure that wasn't a easy decision.
It's so funny. If you were to go back, even for football, if you were to go back and you were to tell me how dangerous football is, and you told that to Josh when I was in my prime playing football, no matter what you told me, there's nothing you were going to do to talk me out playing football. I love the game so much, right? Now, as I have children, I am kind of trying to lead them away from football. I think I'd like to lead them towards basketball or something. But my point is, if you would have told me how hard running a business was going to be, and I could actually feel all of the pain and all the suffering and all the anxiety and all the stuff, if you just give it to me in a bottle and dude, drink this and this is what it's going to be like for the next 10 years, it's no matter how painful some of those moments have been for me, you still wouldn't be able to talk me out of it. And today, if you told me how hard the next 10 years are going to be, knowing how hard the last 10 years have been, you're still going to talk me out of it. And I think there's something about, I don't think there's anything more dangerous in the world than a person with purpose. When you wake up one day and that thing in your gut and your soul and your solar plexus right there in the center of your body tells you that this is what you're supposed to be doing with your life, I think that's one of the most important days in a person's life. And for people, it doesn't mean that that's starting a business. That isn't starting a business for everybody. For some people, that might be being a mom. For some people, that might be serving as the number 2 in a great organization. It might be giving leadership in the roles that you're sitting in. It might be just being the best at your craft for the organization that you work for. But whatever that thing is in your gut that's telling you you gotta go. You gotta follow that thing. I'll tell you, I can tell you immense challenges in 10 years. I could fill up 5 days worth of podcasts on just challenges that you face as a brick and mortar business owner. Not let alone the fitness industry is a separate 5-day podcast. but
do a series on that.
But what I will say is that there was a day that was very clear for me that I had to do this. And it was actually a day when Haydee and I were talking about if we wanted to do this or not. We were in the discussion and planning time frame of okay, we kind of have this idea. Are we sure? We're not really sure. So we haven't told anybody yet. We're playing with it's on a whiteboard and it's on pieces of paper and stuff. I'm not sure if it's going to happen yet. I was still working at 24 Hour Fitness. So that day that I'm talking about, a gentleman came in. I sold a guy a membership and he's probably in his 60s. And he's in good shape, and so we started talking about kids and life, because that's what, if you ever buy something from me, I'm going to get to know you. I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm a relationship person. I'm looking for, long-term relationship for years. So, tell me about your kids, tell me about your job, how long you've been there for.
Touch points.
Yeah, that sounds like a good company, blah, 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 right? So I asked him some questions like that. And I said, what I was like, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do for a living? He told me, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he worked for some organization. And I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. How long have you been there for? He's like, 36 years. Like 36 years. He's like, yeah, counting every day. I'm like, oh, interesting. I was like, it sounds like it's a really good company. Do you enjoy what you do? He's like, I do not enjoy what I do. I was like, okay. It was very like solemn. It's like, I do not enjoy what I do. He's like, it pays my bills and it takes care of my family. He's like, I actually had a lot of ideas on things I wish I would have done when I was younger. But once I started working and I had a family, here I am 36 years later, just doing what I need to do to take care of my family. I look forward to, and he had like a retirement date in mind and blah, blah, blah. I was like, that day I made a decision that wasn't going to be my life. I'm not going to look up 30 years from now. I'm like, dude, what if I would have done that thing I really wanted to do? Like, what if you can't live your life in what ifs? Like, what if I would have done that thing? That would kill me. I would rather fail miserably, fall flat on my face, be completely wrong, put myself out there, gain some life experience at least for it, right? And then look at the rest of my life as a what if, or I could have, or I wish I would have, or any of those kind of things, right? I refuse to live that way.
So I love how you share that pivotal moment, because I learned about this quote from somewhere else along my travels, is that where is the richest place on earth? Just give me a guess.
Ooh, my brain went to like Saudi Arabia or something like that. Like Dubai.
It's actually a cemetery. And the reason why I say that is because what you just said, more often than not, people are kind of trapped in this hamster wheel of thinking where they can't implement and put action on their dreams and take the steps necessary to manifest it, right? Whether success or failure, right? And so why the cemetery is because they end up passing on with those dreams with them, right? So it becomes the richest place on earth. And when I heard that, it just like blew my mind, because, we only have one life, right? We don't know how long it's going to be. The pandemic taught us that it's very fragile, right? So I love the story and the pivotal moment, the light bulb moment, where you say to yourself, you know what? I would rather not have the delayed gratification of retirement or an end date. And why don't I just, do this now? Right. And I think this might be like a more of a fitness quote that I just learned is, do you want one day or day one? Right. Just switching the and it's just so nuanced in terms of how small moments mindset, needs to happen, and your whole life changes. So I definitely applaud you and your wife, Haydee, because it's definitely a family. You're doing it as a team. It's just beautiful on how those moments culminated into that. So
yeah. And special shout out to Haydee too, man, because I've been with Haydee since 2007, right? So I've been with Haydee for 18 years now. Haydee has never shot down my dreams or my ambitions. It's something that I hold so dear and so valuable, to know that like I have a partner that supports me and supports my dreams, supports my wishes. That when I came to her with something that was scary, she's like, why not? Why not you? I bet you could do that. She's always spoken confidence into me as a man, right? She's always spoken hope and faith into my dreams. And I don't know if there's anything more valuable that you can ask for from your significant other than is just that approval. I don't know if you ever seen the movie 300, but he's like, this is madness or something like that. And he looks back at his wife and she gives him like the nod of approval. And then he kicks the dude. He's like, this is Sparta. And he kicks him. Like sometimes you just got to be able to look back and know that your lady's got that nod for you, that you can be that savage of a person that you need to be to do the thing that you really are being called to do.
I love it. Man, I can talk forever with you. So let's talk about the challenges, right? So let's talk about the client, right? What are some common and unique challenges in today's times that really hinder someone on not just starting their fitness journey, but sustaining it and maintaining it in today's times, are there any uniqueness to our current era in terms of someone, saying like, I want to start it kind of like New Year's resolution, but a lot of people fall off, right? Like, what are the challenges, and how does your Fitness on Fire, the family, the community that you built, what is the unique proposition that you help to bring?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, I could go through a couple, so let me try to find a targeted answer there. Like, what's the most prevalent? All right, so challenges that I think people face today in our modern world. My first thought went to overinformation. It's a concept that there's just so much information out there that I don't know if people know how to sort through it sometimes. So there's like this analysis by paralysis I see a lot of the times, where it's like, are eggs good or eggs bad? And should I do the egg whites or the whole egg? It's like, is cholesterol or not? Like, there's so much that people are trying to absorb all the time, and there's so many different sources. And part of it's maybe even fear mongering and things like that via social media, where everybody's trying to make every ingredient in your food the devil, right? Like don't eat this, don't eat that, this is terrible for you. If you're eating oatmeal, your testosterone is going to, like, come on, right? So all of those things, there may be some small degree of truth in a lot of these things that people are coming across, but it's honestly, like, your 6 pillars are pretty dang sound, brother. The 6 pillars of functional medicine, is that what it was?
Lifestyle medicine.
Lifestyle medicine. I am trying. I am so sorry. I'll have to ask you.
It's okay.
Right? But generally, like, good whole nutrition, movement, stress management, sleep, right? Reduce risky substances and bad things in your life, and have a strong social connection. I nail it. That's
stress management. Right? You got it, man. I love it.
It's like, that's most of it, right? So at the end of the day, like, if you're not moving, just start moving. If you're looking at your nutrition and you're like, dude, I know that I could probably do less of that or more of these or whatever, like, generally, like, just start there. Sometimes just taking the first step, I think, is the hardest part for people. Then I think being accountable to doing what you said you wanted to do when the mood that you said it in has left you is a challenge that I see in today's society. I feel like it's pretty easy to flip flop, and honestly, super respectfully, like, they're even coming out with laws. They just came out with some law recently where it's like, oh, the gym memberships and subscription services need to be easier to cancel. It's like, dude, like, no, they don't. Honestly, like, I don't want to hold people hostage to the gym, but if you told me you were going to be here for 6 months to get to that goal that you said was really important to you, to, like, save your life and, like, change your circumstances and to show up as a better husband and dad and all those kind of things, and then after, like, the first month, you're like, oh, I'm a little sore, or I'm kind of bored, the workouts have been too similar or whatever, so I'm just going to, like, stop doing it entirely and make up an excuse about what I'm going to do for the next 5 months instead, and then not end up doing it, and then you come see me a year from now and you didn't get any better. I should have kept your butt in the gym for the 6 months, even though you were bored and sore. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes you got to stick to the thing, man. The program that typically wins for people, whether it's nutrition, fitness, self-development, whatever your program is that you're following, it's typically the program that you just stick to. The value of compounding is the winning formula in almost everything. That's in my experience, at least. So people ask me at times, like, hey, what chest workout do I need to do to get a chest that's as big as your chest? Or especially when I had a big chest. I was, like, super jacked at some point in I play college football.
And then you had kids.
Yeah, chest press specialist. I'm like generally fit now. Like, I got a lot. I'm well rounded, but before I just had a big chest. So people are like, dude, what kind of things do you do? What workout can I do to get my chest like yours? I don't know, like 18 years of chest exercises without missing a day. That's what I did to get a big chest. You understand, right? It's compounding. It's not what happens in the next month, 2 months, 6 months, but it's the small decisions that you make between now and for the rest of time that will compound. They'll turn into ginormous results eventually. And oftentimes, it's not on your timeline or your expectations. So people come in after 10 years of not taking care of their health and fitness, and they expect to turn it around in 6 months or a year. You walk 10 years into the woods, you're going to have to turn around and walk 10 years out. So, get a little less in a hurry and really just focus on the small behaviors that you need to install that are going to last you forever.
Going back to social media and the age of, the internet and all that, right? And what I say a lot is comparison is the thief of joy. In the fitness industry, being that you've been in it for so long, do you feel like it's made a difference in terms of people's expectations, right? So you just talked about like, oh, they anticipate things like results quicker. Do you feel like because of the internet, social media, et cetera, that accelerated people's expectations in terms of like getting results faster? Or was it the same before the internet age?
Yeah, so if it's just about the internet age, it's definitely a part of that, right? Like it's got to be, I think all of our attention spans are just lower than they've ever been, right? Like, even the algorithms for social media and stuff like that, it's like adapting all the time because the way people are taking information, they're taking in so much now. It's just swipe, 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 right? So I feel like our brains are processing, and I don't know, scientifically, but they have to be processing much more today than they've ever processed, right? So yes, I think that has to do for sure with people's like expectations for immediate gratification. Because if you think about it almost in any way, whether it's AI software, social media, we have more information available at our fingertips. We have more technology available at our fingertips today than like the first spaceship that went to the moon had on it. Like if you have a question, within seconds, I can hold the button on my phone and ask my phone, and it'll give me like 50 responses to the question. Nowhere in any time in history we've had that availability for information. But that being said, being able to sort through that information, make it actionable, take action on it, show up to be accountable to it, that is getting rarer and rarer maybe in some ways.
Yeah. I remember back in the day when we just had the encyclopedia. You remember that? Like, what is it called? Britannica? It was like this huge, like it takes up the width of your bookshelf, right? That was the source of information at the time. Now it's like, immediate, especially with AI. Let's move on. We're going to close soon. I want to kind of end the conversation with your favorite transformations that you've seen over the years. Can you highlight a couple for us?
Yeah, for sure. Because transformations, they come in different sizes and shapes, right? And not even just talking actual shapes and sizes. Sometimes the transformations are the finish line. We call them finish lines sometimes here. So Fitness on Fire helps people cross their next finish line. Sometimes those finish lines are proverbial. So sometimes that finish line is losing that first 5 pounds. Sometimes that finish line is if you've been drinking every night for the last 3 years, the first finish line might be saying no to a drink one night. And that first finish line might be showing up to the gym for 4 consecutive weeks, 4 times a week. But I do like objective measures that show us that we are moving people forward. So we have a lot of transformations, but some of them are invisible transformations that you wouldn't know people are going through, but they've had a moment where they drew the line in the sand and they said, I'm going to do something different for my health, something different for my life, right? We could talk all day, but I'll go back, right? The first one I'll talk about is like Brenda Guerca. She's our operations manager at Fitness on Fire. Brenda was my first triple digit fat loss client going back as far as 2007. Brenda called me because I think she had a death in her family. I think her cousin maybe passed away. I might have to ask her to get specifics, but it's like 2007, 2008. And she was scared. She was extremely overweight at the time. And she's like, I know I need to do something because I'm on a similar trajectory. And so I called her. We booked a session. She came in. There's lots of tears and stuff like that. She couldn't afford the training. So she went out and got resources from her family and things because she believed in the cause. And she came back and bought some training. And here we are, 18 years later. And she's our operations manager now at Fitness on Fire. And we've raised kids side by side and stuff like that. But that's been such an amazing transformation to see her fall in love with fitness so much that she also became a part of our team, right? I've been training Susie Maybe since 2008, 2007-ish time frame as well. And Susie has won multiple world championships and has competed in probably just as many fitness events as I have at this point. In the almost 18 years training Susie, we've seen each other through a lot of seasons, right? Susie's 68 as I do this recording today, and she's preparing for another world championship for High Rocks this year.
Wow.
So just a savage of a human, but Susie's also down, I think, triple digits in her fat loss journey over the course of time. Most people have only ever seen Susie as jacked, but there was a time where she was not. So that's pretty cool. But her husband's been in the gym recently, and I think Dave's down a little over 60 pounds now, and so that's awesome watching him take control of his life. I mean, so some of the fat loss stories are awesome, but some of the other transformations or things that have happened at Fitness on Fire that exceed, I think, even just the fat loss is just relationships. There are numerous like marriages and like babies and things that have happened in the 10 years at Fitness on Fire. So This place has been a staple of life changes, and at least for people in certain seasons of their life, whatever that season is. So I always tell people that people are probably going to be around for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. We've got people that are at Fitness on Fire for a lifetime that they're going to be here. And we've got people that came in for a certain season, or they came in for a reason or a fitness goal. And I love all those people the same. Thank you. Thank you. If you're listening to this and you've been a part of our story or our journey, or I've helped you or our team's helped you in any way, I'm so proud of your transformation for whatever you were there for. There's an unbelievable amount of success stories at Fitness on Fire. So we'll have to book another 10 or 12 podcasts.
Awesome. Well, before we do the call to action, I want to ask a question, and this is for you, Josh. It's a two-parter. Is if you took a DeLorean and you went back 10 years, what would you say to yourself? You're 10 years younger to yourself, and in the future, 10 years from now, if you had future Josh come back to this present moment, what would you hope to hear from him 10 years from the future?
I actually would have liked to go back. I think I would have liked to go back 16 years. And I wish I would have told myself to buy Bitcoin. I kid you not. I actually remember a conversation with Haydee in 2009 where we sat at a computer like, what's this Bitcoin thing? And we were thinking about buying some, and we did not buy some. So all jokes aside, that's 2009. I remember that conversation. But 10 years ago, going back at the very beginning of Fitness on Fire, like, it's wild to see what it's turned into today, what the community is like, how deep the ties in our community going, not like within the four walls of Fitness on Fire, but even Fitness on Fire's reach to local nonprofits and other businesses that we associate with, the Chamber of Commerce, all that stuff is crazy. I never expected it to be as big or as awesome as it is today, right? I think that what I would tell myself 10 years ago, and I tell this to a lot of trainers currently, is to be realistic about, it's something I already said today, about really understand the power of compounding. It's be realistic about what you can accomplish in a year, but to be very optimistic about what you can accomplish in 10 years. I think most of the things that I set goals for early in my life, I've actually seen most of those things happen, but oftentimes they happen much later than I expected them to. It wasn't until I became the person, the character that I think really deserved the prize that I was seeking, that I actually finally got the prize. I think having the prize in mind, knowing what the goal was, mattered, or I don't think I'd be headed in the right trajectory. So I think it's important to have goals. Goals with expectations, I think, is the problem, right? Where I'm expected that I deserve to get this in the next year. I think as I stopped expecting that I was going to get this or something around those lines, and I just focused on the daily actions and the small disciplines, those things have compounded into things that I honestly are beyond my control or creative abilities, right? Be realistic with what you can do in 1 year. Be optimistic with what 10 years could look like. If I were to come back from the future to say something to myself 10 years from now, coming back to today.
Your future self, what would you hope to, moving to the next decade, with Fitness on Fire, like what would you hope to receive from your future self?
Maybe a little bit of a deeper topic, but I think the times that I've had the biggest struggles as an entrepreneur have been when I expect, again, a lot about expectations, is when I expect that I deserve more or that I should be doing more, I should have more, any of those kind of things. And I do forget to smell the flowers at times. I do forget how great, how really awesome the wins really are sometimes. And sometimes my losses, I multiply my losses by 10,000 and I divide my wins at least by 5. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's weird, right? That we don't give ourselves credit. We don't enjoy the process. I think having children is really checking me a lot recently to understand what, like, my son's turning 4 this weekend. So 4 years old, I remember his first day with me like it was yesterday, right? 4 years flash by. And I read something that's like 75% of the time your kids are going to spend with you, they spend with you by 12 years old. So in other words, I've spent a quarter of the time I'm going to spend with my son already. Already.
Wow.
Right. And I can tell you that I've been trying to be present, but I don't think that I've been, like, this is a fourth of the time I'm going to get with my son. I don't think it's been that present. right?
Mm.
So if I were to come back 10 years from now, it would be to make sure you understand what the main thing is, and to be grateful for what you have, and to be present with what you have right now,
Hmm.
because who knows what else is coming, or who knows what
Hmm.
tomorrow holds. But right now, you can bank on that. Breathe in now, love now, take in every second, be grateful for every second. And I truly am trying to feel that. It's a hard thing for me. So I need future Josh to come check me. Yeah,
Well, what's beautiful about that, and thank you so much for sharing that, is again going back to the beginning of what we said before. It's like you do really well in putting the we in wellness, and so it's not just an individual effort to check yourself and holding yourself to those deeper moments, but it's really your wife, your family, the chosen family, the fitness family, right? The community that you've built, keeping each other accountable and reminding ourselves that it's not just the tangible and visible goals that we're trying to achieve, but it's a lot of ways the invisible, what you just said, the proverbial goals and the transformations that we want to see, the deeper meaningful shifts. And yeah, man, you're not doing it by yourself, so we'll check each other out, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, heck yeah.
Josh, thank you so much for contributing your time, your philosophies, the principles, all the ups and downs. What would you like the audience to leave here with from this conversation? Where can we find the gym? What's up and coming?
Yeah, for sure. If I had to impart anything with the team today, a lot of it's probably just it doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to get started, right? So get started. Any of the goals, the things you're trying to manifest, whether it's we talked a lot about business today. If you're trying to start a business and you have a calling to do that, just take that first step. If it's nutritionally, if it's in your health and fitness, taking that first step, that's it, and then just keep going. Small disciplines add up. I promise. Small actions add up. And then for Fitness on Fire, we just actually remodeled the gym. So we're 10 years into the brick and mortar. Actually, today again is the birthday. We did some remodeling last weekend. We'll be spending the rest of the weekend this weekend in the gym, fixing all the bells and whistles and things. We have our gala coming up soon. We have a 10-year gala for our members. But I think at the time of this podcast, I think that'll already have happened. I think what I'd love to do is just invite your listeners to come check out Fitness on Fire sometime. Come see what we've done with the space. If you guys want to come and try a free class, we'll leave some free, like we'll leave links and stuff in the show notes. But Fitness on Fire also has a pretty big virtual footprint. So if you connect with us on like social media, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or Facebook, any of those places, we're always doing live trainings and just giving away resources to try and make the community stronger, healthier, better. So connect with us some way. I think we'll be able to help you, even if you're not trying to buy something from us. Just come connect with us.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending the time out. Again, congratulations to your, last 10 years, and we're going to move forward to the next 10 years. And you know what, you definitely, it's definitely sweat equity, especially in this space. But, there's a lot, I can feel that there's a lot of love and intention with what you do. And what you said, be very, very mindful of someone, with a purpose. And that's definitely you. 1,000%, you and your wife Haydee. So definitely thank you so much. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you felt like this was a benefit for someone else, please let them know. And until then, please say goodbye to Coach Josh. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Doc.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoy that episode. If you like that, please like, comment, and subscribe. And please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. And if you felt that this was a benefit for someone else, please let them know. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating, and we greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one.